Yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting, man. We'll get into this. So let me just get this. Boom. All right. Put my little watermark down there. Let's just take a look at the charts. Take a look at the charts. All right. So last night when me and Phoenix were talking, we mentioned filling this area over here. This is something that I mentioned on Monday that guys, you start dipping into single prints. All right. You have to get a but like all right. So if you have price action like this, oh man, if you have price action like this, all right, and there is a fair value gap that forms. When you come back down, you want to be able to just dip into it and then boogie. All right? When you sit and linger, when you sit and linger and you come in and you start all right doing something, you run the risk of filling that fair value gap. And essentially that's what we got. Unfortunately, I'm not in a long right now. The longs are printing, man. That was a nice swing. If you caught that low, that was awesome. Um, so the reason why I'm not in a long right now is because on Bybit we front ran the fair value gap fill. We front ran it. Like if you look, zoom in real quick, we front ran it by like $100, $140, $130. All right. Also, in that same aspect, we front ran the fair value gap and we also front ran this node. Sure, you can say that it touched on this little bit right here, but I'm not trading that. Like, I don't trade that. All right. And you can see it front ran where this node starts getting chunky. So for me, I kind of expected one more little push down. All right. Coming in here, maybe one little push down. But guys, at the end of the day, screw your feelings. There was a market structure change at the low of this fair value gap. There was volume within there. It was a low volume node. There was always the potential for us to get a bounce. So, you know what? If I would have been a little bit more cautious or paying attention, or conscious of the fact, I maybe could have entered something, especially on the break of structure. I was trying something out that Phoenix was talking about yesterday, and I probably completely misunderstood what he was saying. But from what I gathered, all right, is that you bring, what is it, this guy? You bring this guy up to the point that sweeps the previous high. So if there's a liquidity purge, and then, short it if it gets a rejection from here, you long it once you break it. So when I saw that with the change of market structure, um, it looked nice, especially like on the 5 minute. Like this looks so slow, and this is like what you would like to see with a market structure change, slow and controlled. You get the clear little boot retest on your way up, you know. But you don't get them all. I don't feel bad for missing it because again, like I said, the PA could have given me insight from it. But I don't know. We front ran that level. We front ran that node. We front ran the fair value gap. All right. The reason why I kind of believe that I might have missed the train. All right. And this might be it. All right. And I'm going to say that very cautiously that this might be the little mini low, at least until a retrace a little bit higher, maybe to the 96, 100K area. It's because this was a support and resistance flip too. This was nice, and I like a knucklehead. You know, that was a nice support and resistance flip. Look at that. Came down, touched it, broke back under. It would have been nice. It would have been really nice, man. What I would have liked to see on that support and resistance after this little break here, instead of just going up like that, I would have liked to see here, retest it, and then go off. But maybe this was a retest. You know, are those equal? This is a 5 minute on Bybit. Do do do. No, those are not equal lows. All right, and some people will say they're equal lows. Me personally, um, if the one to the right purges the one to the left, that's not an equal low. I think that means liquidity's been swept. That means you got somebody building an order around here, or you have people in longs that got stopped out of that. Like everybody who just put their stop to entry or whatever, um, they all probably got stopped out there. Thinking, oh man, we're taking off. Yikes! Nope, stopped out. Boom, way up. But now if this one is a little bit above it, then I consider them equal lows, and I think that there's still liquidity beneath that level in order to purge. All right. So, all right. So, where are we at? What are we doing now? What areas do we have in front of us that we may have to be worried about? Um, all right. First things first, man. We are coming up to resistance right now. This area is a form of resistance. All right. This where we're at exactly is a previous support and resistance level. This line right here. So starting here, if you start seeing structure flip, or if you start seeing us having an issue getting over this high, pay attention, because overall, guys, overall, we're still just chugging along. And, yes, we did break some internal, but overall, this is that leg. Boom, boom, boom. And we don't have a market structure break that we would want to see. This thing can come all the way up here and go down and still maintain bearish structure. So that's something to be concerned about. I know we had positive earnings with Nvidia. I think they were saying some stuff. You have a bunch of these institutional people saying they're buying Bitcoin. It's getting a lot of people interested, bullishly, but you could get a yoink down. And I wouldn't be surprised because, again, guys, again, I am a firm believer of gaps need to be filled. All right. It's the way of life. Gaps need to be filled. We filled a good portion of this part of the gap. But like I said the other night, I like this whole gap. You know what? If we come up, because I could still see something possible like this where we attack these three highs. That's why I had those marked out there. I had these little things because me and Phoenix were talking about it last night, that this is like a little liquidity curve. Yeah, it's not as pronounced where you have that full on like curve, but you got lower high, lower high, lower high. What that means is you have shorts, shorts, shorts. All these shorts are still intact. All right, nobody's been stopped out. Yeah, of course you have people that have taken profit, yada yada, but the whole idea behind it is that there's stop losses, there's liquidity above these highs. And what makes that kind of juicy, that area kind of juicy, is that you have this node here. So one thing I think I mentioned it last night. One thing that I would look for if we do get up this high is kind of a break, retest down. All right, sweeping these highs, purging the volume within this level, getting back in, and then retesting it. If I wanted to be safer in entering for a long. I definitely want to see a break, ah, a break retest targeting that, you know. So we're kind of in the middle of nowhere right now, volume wise. I'm kind of at a point where it's like I got into a short last night here. I had some good take profits all the way down. It was nice. This was nice this morning. I didn't compound my trade with this, but this was like a gimme. This was a nice trade. Um, but yeah, man, like freaking shorts look nice this morning. Right now, they don't look great, you know. I do have like a little bit left in that trade. There's a good chance I'll end up getting stopped out once we're up here. But I've gotten to the point where I've paid myself that I do get stopped out. It's not, I'm not gonna feel anything. Think it's gonna be like a few dollars to be honest. But what I could see, like maybe we do continue or we just sweep this and head lower, start tackling these things. You know, it's a lot of ifs and maybes just because I, I don't want to get too bullish knowing that this got front ran. I don't want to get too bullish knowing that this node got front ran. All right, like this had, and we've seen it. We've seen it all the time. This is something we talk in endless, where you come in, you get a little range, you get a little range, sweep, see a market structure break. Everybody's like, "Oh no, we broke structure," and then we push down to the next one, to the next range. So I'm definitely wanting to be cautious about it, about this area. And again, just because we do have things left behind. Um, we did break internal structure, so there's definitely bullish things down there. And maybe I'm a little salty that I didn't get into a long during the day, but you know, there are things to be kind of bullish about. Just really looking now. And I'm trying to see if anything else stands out because I've been on the last 3 nights and I've pretty like the TA that I do, like these nodes are pretty concrete, you know, not much is going to change with them unless you trade within those areas. So those areas of interest that I'm looking at are kind of staying the same. I still have my lines through the chart, what I'm really looking at. Um, the POCs up here, the nodes down here. But other than that, there's really not much else to concern myself with without, getting into the weeds and then, going all crazy and stuff, drawing a bajillion things. But yeah, you can see, this little area was a nice range. All right. It gets kind of ugly like this up here. I'm not a fan of. I think because from here, I would take it as more of the volume standpoint from it. So I'll start from over here. I'll bring it across, and our majority of our range is within here. So I'm considering this little area to be the range. You know, um, I would like to see us dig into it. I personally, somewhere around this area, I would like to see us dig into it a little bit more, whether it be just purging this. Like, I would like to see these lows purged. I think that would piss a lot of people off. I think what would piss a lot of people off is what I just drew a second ago. Coming in here, sweeping that into volume, and getting yoinked down. I think that would piss a lot of people off, and that would probably screw a lot of people over. You know, I'm sure there's people holding on to like fat shorts, wanting zero, didn't take profit or took very minimal profit, and are just holding on. And we do, guys. We did save a nice liquidity curve to get wrecked, and that was something that we were mentioning, me and Phoenix, that this looks very easy to purge. If we get up here, we start breaking these highs, you could purge this pretty easily. So, but yeah, man. Just looking on the other time frames, we do have this previous support resistance flip. Um, I'd like a little bit higher, and I think this 2 hour profile, what we're looking at here, all right, this gives credence to coming up, sweeping it, and going down. That gives a little bit of credence for that, where you sweep the level, you tag into whatever demand is or supply is over here, and then you work down. Um, but yeah, man, I wouldn't right now. Like the market's mad, like market's angry. All right, that's why it's ripping right now. So I wouldn't be aggressive, super aggressive with shorts. I'd be very careful longing in this area. You are coming up to resistance. Um, I personally would like to see a little bit more, you know, decision. Like, cause like I said, this is ugly. You start getting up to the 4 hour structure we have is boom, boom, boom. So, maybe this is the pullback we need up to 96, up to 100 before the next leg down, if there's going to be a leg down. All right. What I'm looking for, like if I'm super bullish, thinking, all right, maybe there's a good chance the trend straight gonna change, is if we get back into this range, this overall range. And remember, I have mine split up, but just imagine these two and that one together as one box. This range right here. So we start breaking back within this, you know, I would be kind of excited. We do have this as well that we could start breaking back within and start scaling our way up. Uh, but for me, because guys, look at this structure on the. This is the 4 hour. Where's your market structure change? All the way up at 106. So it's kind of tough to really say, "Oh yeah, I'm bullish," when on the 4 hour that market structure is it's not structuring. So, um you just got to take it level by level at this point. Take it node from node. I'm able to see, we reclaim this. Our next shot is at least to the low volume node if we reclaim it. Um Possibly look for some type of market change, some type of accumulation. So if we come up here, we come up here, something that gives us an accumulation or retest back up to here. You'll see a retrace and a little, I can't really draw that well, a little accumulation, move back in. Up to the next node. One thing I would look for, especially if we got back up to around this area at 101, is that if we break above this, what are we going to do first? Are we going to come straight up to the node, or are we going to retest this and then come up to the node? I like this one because it gives me an entry. If we retest this, I have a clear take profit right up at that node. All right. If we reject from this node, now I'm looking possibly for an entry again back here. The good thing, the good thing actually about this scenario is that if we do that, we've kind of cleared the way for this volume. We've tapped into it, so if we go up, there's a good chance we're going to go a little higher. So either way, you could take the retest to the node, or you can take after we reject from the node, maybe a possible long getting back in. But that's 101,000. Like honestly, guys, like all I got for here, the next thing that I got where I'm saying like, okay, I throw a little bit of money into it if we get a solid retest is right around here. I would love to see a move up, clear this fair value gap within here, retest of this, and then moving up. That would be that would be like my go-to move. Um, there are ways to enter throughout here. You can enter on market structure breaks on stuff like that. But me personally, I get chopped up trying to catch those little micro moves, or not really micro moves, but coming down so defined down here, looking for the specific market structure changes and all that. I like the higher time frames. I like the bigger volume nodes. That's more concrete for me. Like I'll start dropping down to this type of time frame or the 15-minute or something like that. If we're coming down here, all right, I'm dropping time frame. I'm seeing what's happening at this level you know. But again, guys, like I'm not a fan of where we bounced from. Yes, yes, I get it. It was the top of this crap. It was right here. We bounced off of that. That's a perfectly viable reason why we bounced. Support and resistance. All right. But I'm not a fan that we left. Hold on. We left the daily. I'll show you that gray highlighting. I'm not a fan that we left this daily fair value gap barely filled. Like literally, we front ran this by like $100 and something dollars. Stupid. Um, but yeah, like I said, if we do bounce from here, I'm okay with it because it is viable. It's a support and resistance flip, and I just missed the train. What I would like to see is a fill of this because within here, on the lower time frames, you're gonna have a range. So we start dropping down. Hold on. Boop, 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 boop. Where is it over here? I don't know. Ah, it's down here. There we go. Bro, I should just do the trick that freaking Thor does. Is it? Yeah. We start getting underneath. This is the fair value gap on the daily. You see that we have quite a bit around this area. You know, this looks juicy. This low volume node right here, that looks very juicy. And that kind of lines up with this. So, um, that would be nice. And honestly, I would like to see at least a dip into this node, you know, something. But no, no, support and resistance flip, and it is what it is, man. And you see this sometimes, That's why absolutes in trading will get you burned because just because you dip 99% into a fair value gap, there's no absolute saying that you have to fill it. You can bounce from wherever. You can bounce from the 0.64 of the fair value gap, and you know it's because that's where the market's moving, that's where participants are. Obviously, a lot of people saw this area as important, and we can draw this out. This is like a whole ass demand area from up here to down here. Whole ass demand area. All right. So, big ass range. Like, I hate drawing that on my chart because that's freaking what? That's a 16% demand area. That does me no good. Um, but having just the support and resistance, you could have nailed this. Looking for the market structure shift that Phoenix talks about down at the lows. When you saw us go into support and resistance, you definitely could have gotten into a trade if you wanted to long it. But all right. Well, guys, literally, I told you it was going to be brief. I don't have much to talk about. I screwed myself up because you know what? A day in between streams, all right, that, you stream on Monday, Tuesday, I can get a little content because of maybe some development in the range. But when I go 2 days in a row, like I've talked about everything that's really happened. These things, especially on the higher time frames, these don't move unless you're putting in a good amount of volume. So you got concrete levels, you're looking at the same levels. It's kind of like ranges, bigger ranges. They're still going to be there. Me and Thor were talking about 111.7 and 112.5 forever. Those were concrete levels, you know. So um but yeah, be careful, guys. Be careful with the longs. Don't get too bullish yet. All right? Don't get too bullish yet because again, we've been doing stuff like that. You saw it this morning. This morning was perfect example of what the market's been doing, and we're doing it on all types of scales where we come, we kind of range, sweep the high, push down lower. You know, you've seen it, like all this stuff, and you see it all throughout here. You'll notice we'll range, sweep the high, go a little lower. Those are some good trades. I know. Look, this one was here. We range, sweep the high, go a little lower. You just got to be careful with this stuff. We range, distribute at the top, go lower. All right, so just be cautious of that. We're still in a big old downtrend. All right, we're still in a big old downtrend on at least the hour and so like that. Like, guys, I know, I know some people may disagree, but let's go to the 4 hour. 4 hour, I like. This is kind of the structure that I'm looking at. I like doing the structure more so on Coinbase, and I'll show you why. Let me get to Coinbase. This is Coinbase right here. Boom. Oh, crap. Here, 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 here. That's the structure I got. That's what I'm looking at. And Coinbase volume looks exactly the same right now. So I think the plan of looking for this POC at 96 is nice. We got to be careful with the support and resistance right above us. Um, Clearing. Did we? Let me see. Did we clear this gap on Coinbase? Because this might just change up my whole tune and make me hate life. Like I just might be super pissed about all this. Because if we cleared this on Coinbase, is it right here? Yeah, it's right here. Bumbleclot. No way. Yeah, we did. All right, man. That kind of. Hmm. That's all I'm gonna say. Hmm. Hmm. So we front ran it on Bybit. Let me see Bybit USD. Sorry, guys. I'm kind of just. Oh wow, man. This kind of changes stuff up a little bit, and the only reason I say that, you know, because again, I would still like to see those nodes below us get hit, but this is a clear, on both Coinbase and Bybit, we tag that. We tag that low. So I've seen that happen, just perfectly fill a fair value gap and pull away from it. I think that is a little bit more bullish, seeing it tag on Bybit USD and on Coinbase. Um, because if it would have tagged on Coinbase and then Bybit wouldn't have had it tagged, I'd still kind of consider it. I'd be like, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess we did fill it, but on the big exchanges where a lot of people trade, we haven't filled it. So, like I'd be a little skeptical. Now seeing it filled on Coinbase and Bybit USD, and the only one that's not filled is USDT on Bybit. I'm kind of like, all right, screw USDT. I think Bybit USD is a solid place to hit that low. Again, guys, I'd still be very careful. This doesn't change my sentiment of we could have a sweep of the highs and then push lower. That doesn't change the sentiment at all. I 100% believe that could still happen. I 100% believe that we can still come to um in and fill this. Those are still on the cards for me. But again, if we break up from here, shoot, man, I'm so much more understanding because of the fill on the other Bybit chart and the Coinbase chart. So I'd be looking, just pay attention. Pay attention when you get back into the support and resistance level. Look for a retest in. All right, because that lines up with this node here. If you could catch that for scraps, man, from this node up to this node is 2.49%. From the node, a retest of it into the low volume node would be 1.6%. So you could catch the scraps on the way up. There's no reason. Yes, don't get me wrong. It would have been awesome to get an $88,000 position, you know, or a position in at 88.5. That would have been awesome. Hit the bottom of the fair value gap to the dollar, best screenshot in the world, But be careful with the knife catching. Wait for it. Like we have a clear break internally now, and I mentioned this at the beginning, but we have a clear internal break here, here, here. All right. This is the big break. This is the big break. But, you definitely got to be cautious. This is where if I think that we're going to go down, we could SFP this or SFP these and then move down. I would definitely be cautious within this area. I'd be cautious. I'm not 100% sure. And I'm a monkey, bro. So I'm saying this now, but when it comes down to it, I might if I'd be too excited to long that on the retest. If you keep your stop loss short or small and you keep your losses at a minimum, you could take the swing. But I don't know, man. Like we've seen this over and over again where we put in a little liquidity curve, smash it down. We've seen it. So that's why I'm getting a little bit uneasy. But the trade would be there. The trade, like, this is a valid setup. Purge, retest, a low volume node, take profit. Previous range low, take profit. Second, take profit at the next node. All right. But yeah. Other than that, guys, I'm going for the night. I don't know how. I think I'm getting the same bull crap that everybody's getting. I think there's something going around the United States. Somebody poisoned us, I guess. But you know, yeah. Let's see on the low time frames. I think I'm coming down. It sucks because I have Thanksgiving break coming up, so I don't want to be sick for Thanksgiving break. 15. Um, there's some areas. This area looks nice, right in the middle of the move up. This area looks pretty nice. This one too, and I like this area because it has the volume from here as well. You know, this one shares volume a little bit with here, and this POC lines up dead in the middle of this, so I like that area. This area is nice. Um, I don't know, man. Like I personally, even if we come down, like, yeah, sure, we have this to knock out. Maybe I'm just, I need to grow a pair. but I'm just very skeptical. Very, very skeptical. One thing I don't want to see is us start purging down. That I don't want to see a fast move down because then we have kind of the same scenario of here, but on a higher time frame. We have the range, and now we're looking to sweep it. And you saw it, this whole little area here would be the range, the sweep. But in that instance, you'd want to see this get swept if it's gonna be what this is, kind of. But I don't know. I definitely be careful. I definitely be careful around here longing. Uh, guys, just understand the larger environment that we're in. All right, just understand that, guys, because it's very easy to start getting bullish with bullish news. Freaking a almost 5% pump, but understand how we've been moving the past couple months and realize, like, hey, my longs, I should be de-risking my longs relatively quick, and I should be looking for bigger shorts to hold on to, you know, at least until you have structure breaking. At least until you have structure breaking, man. Cause, dude, again, I can't get this. You go down to the 4 hour, I can't get this out of my head, man. This is this is wild that our structure break is up at 106. You know, like sure, like you can. I don't know. I don't know if I'd consider really any of that the structure. This looks better structure wise. That looks better structure wise. So, but yeah. Anybody got any questions, concerns? Because I'm gonna get off now. Let me see. Awesome. All right, I'll have this posted by the end of the night. Um, I'll see if I can post the one from last night. I'll see if I can post the one from last night. If I can post the one from last night, that's like a 3 hour stream with me and White Phoenix. Um, let's see how long it takes that one, but I'll get this one up because this one's a relatively quick one. All right. Sorry I don't have anything exciting for you guys, Um, I'm just taking this level to level, Again, I'm a little salty. I missed this fair value gap fill now that I'm seeing it on the other exchanges. Um, yeah, I've just been doing a lot of work on the Bybit exchange, like on that chart. And I normally look at the Coinbase one, but I haven't looked at the Coinbase one in like 2 days, I don't think. So, I didn't even pay attention to that. I didn't pay attention to that. I'm such a dork. But yeah, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. The cool thing about Bitcoin trades 24 hours a day. And that's strange too, that what is going on here? USDT is about $100 off of USD. Coinbase is about $70 off of USDT. Let me see my exchange. I still trade on Bing X. Bing. Yeah. We're at 90. So it's okay. That's not really an indication of anything, guys. It's just something that popped out to me. It was like, oh, these are kind of off. What was that? But yeah. All right. And guys, one thing that's clear, we still have an imbalance here. We still have an imbalance here. We could find ourselves building into a nice size range, internal range, at any point in time. And we have areas to fill. That would be wild, man. We come all the way up and then just boom. That would be That would screw a lot of people. And that's kind of like our last little push up. We just have like a week, couple week long freaking grind up, retesting everything, coming here, retesting, clearing the way so when we finally dump, it's just like a smooth dump all the way down. Extra X lax, you know. But immediately short term, what I'm looking for, guys, and I'm going to end with this, is resistance at this low, which we're at. We've gotten the tap on it. We found resistance at this point, whether it be short lived or it is the resistance. Um, we are at resistance. All right, so I would definitely, if you want to get into a long, I'd watch for a break on this, but you just got to be careful because we got another resistance point right above it. All right, so if we break above 92.7, the next one we got is 93.8 above us, and then the big boy at 96.4, which we also have the purge of liquidity that could possibly happen right around there, which is this guy, all this, boom. So I'd keep an eye around that area, or 96.4, yeah, 96.4. But you want to see a concrete break and a retest if you want to move up. Understand though, we do have supply within this area. All right, that area is supply. That area, it's not so much a weak supply because this supply caused this leg to push lower than this leg. All right. Um, Now, what is it saying that it's pushing back up? Maybe it's not supply anymore, but until proven otherwise, I would definitely be careful getting back into the zone and seeing like a structure change or something like that. Just keep in mind that, and that lines up perfectly with that volume node there. So, sweep of these highs into the supply zone with a structure change, I think that's a short every day. I think that's a short. Um, Same deal with up here. If we're coming up, you do have, even though this isn't the greatest supply, you do have supply right above there. That'd be nice. You come, sweep it, you get a market structure change coming down, breaking back underneath this node. I would, the aggressive short would be the market structure break. The one that is a little less aggressive would be the node break, and the least aggressive one would be waiting for a retest coming down. You know, um, but you just need to pay attention when we get into these areas. There is going to be, honestly, it looks like from what I'm looking at, because these are so close together, there could be a cascade effect, meaning that you just get the cascading liquidations from all the stop losses, all right, which is going to cause price to go up a little bit higher. Um, so, I wouldn't limit anything. This thing could really push high. This thing could really push up high, could fill this whole gap, you know what I mean? Like there's things to be worried about. Wait for a confirmation. Even if it's just for a market structure break, wait for a confirmation. Don't just, all right, hey, we have the liquidity purge here. Okay, I'm gonna put a limit there. No, because this thing could come all the way up and then break back down. Look for a market structure break. All right, look for a break of the volume node. Look for a retest of the volume node. Look for a retest of the market structure break that's supply and then down. You have your 1, 2, 3 top. All right, you could approach those levels from there, and that stuff goes with this as well. This node, you know, you can go with the market structure break. All right, aggressively. You can go with the node being lost, which maybe they might be around the same area. You never know. Or you can go when the node is retested. All right. So those are the three ways that you could really enter, at least based upon how I kind of do this. And yeah, just wait for confirmations, man. There's no reason to be setting limits and stuff like that right now. The freaking limit was the bottom of this fair value gap, and I'm so salty right now. Actually, like the more I'm talking about it, and the more I'm realizing I low key fumbled the bag with that. Um, Kind of pisses me off, but whatever. Um, that would have been a nice limit order, fair value gap limit. Like, why not? because the fair value gap, you only got to cover the end of that candle. And what would that have been? I think this was a short candle too. So, nah, that would have been crazy. That would have been a crazy. That's 1.4%. You know, for that, like, I don't think that's worth it to limit and do that because you got to let it breathe, man. The worst thing, like limits, they suck because you got to let it breathe, or else there's a good chance you might lose out on you might get stopped out. And then, so from here up to the end of the fair value gap, nah, that's not worth it limiting with that type of stop loss there. You could make it work in a 2 to 1, it's not, yeah, it's pretty bad. That's not good. But yeah, taking it, because usually that's what fair value gaps, a lot of the people that I've seen that trade them, if you enter on a fill of the fair value gap, you usually put your stop underneath the low of it, like the wick. um but sometimes that's just not feasible, like the wicks are too big. And you see that sometimes, like this one's not too bad. This one's not too bad, or this one's pretty sweet. you know End of the fair value gaps there, the wicks right there, that's relatively easy. But that's why I hate limiting. I rather just watch how price action's developing, because like the way things happen, you could look at it and be like, wow, why did it stop me out? Oh, obviously it was going down to those lows. Like like in real time, you have a little bit better judgment, in order to decipher. That could also be bad. Setting the limits does have its plus sides, because if you're a super big degen, it's pretty much pulling you away from the poker table. It's like, no, you got stopped out. Bye. Good try. Try again. You know, but it has its positives and negatives like everything else. All right. So yeah, I'm done. You guys have a great night. Don't worry, be happy, guys. Things are gonna be all right, man. I think, you know what, we're gonna have some good trading going into the end of the year. Um, the name of the game is just protect your capital, guys. If you guys are trading with a lot of friggin' leverage and money you don't have, be careful, because that money that you do have, you can burn through it super quick. Burn through it super quick, with a couple of trades if you're up high leverage and not managing risk. So, guys, I promise you, if you guys protect your capital, you will get to enjoy these range times where we're making some money, whether it's breaking the all-time highs or whether we're making some lows. You could definitely position yourself into some good trades in order to make money. Sometimes you just got to deal with the bull crap. You got to deal with the bull crap. And you guys can see right now we're still in a fresh part of this leg. Like this leg, we don't have much development. Look how much development we had on this leg before the push down. Here, we just gotten down here. This is a matter of days, 2, 3 days. If we start seeing that V-shaped recovery, retesting all the nodes coming in, breaking this, looking like big Billy Badass, then you know what? It could be a good Christmas or a good New Year, you know. But play the levels until the levels break. All right, that doesn't really work like Thor says, but just literally level to level, guys. There's no need to be worrying about 106. There's no need to be worrying about 60K right now. Focus on the now. Focus where we're at. The low volume node. We got a high volume node above us. We have some support and resistance flips above us. What do we have below us? We have some volume nodes. We have the demand within here. Yes, we did tap into it a little bit, but whatever. And we have this volume node. So, you know, this little area you can definitely make a plan within. Boom. Instead of worrying about way up here or way down here. All right. Worry about what's immediately in front of us right now. All right. So, y'all have a good night. God bless you guys, and just have a great night. Take it easy. Peace.